Take the exit. Turn right into the drive-thru.
Nope, I'm making dinner tonight.
You don't have time. Josh has practice.
Oh, that's right. I'll just get a salad.
And fries?
No, just the salad.
But salad cancels fries.
Salad only.
Fries.
Salad.
Fries.
Food noise isn't fair, but Mochi Health is. The affordable GLP-1 source that puts you on the road to successful weight loss.
Hey, can I get the...
Fries.
Salad. Sorry.
Learn more at joinmochi.com. Mochi members have access to licensed physicians and nutritionists. Results may vary.
Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Welcome, everybody, to the Hockey Think Tank podcast, brought to you by Hockey Think Tank U, place for all passionate players, parents, and coaches to go to get a little bit of education and a little bit of inspiration regarding the greatest game on the planet. What an episode we have for you guys here today. This is a big one. We got one of the top women's hockey players in the world. She is currently playing at the University of Wisconsin as a senior, but she also won a silver medal with Team USA at the Olympics a few years back. She is one of the top defensemen in college hockey. She's won a U18 gold medal with Team USA. She's won the gold medal at the World Championships for Team USA twice. Last year, her junior year, she broke the University of Wisconsin defenseman scoring record for a season. She was a plus 75 and also blocked 50 shots. She is a two-time NCAA champion at the University of Wisconsin. Whoa, that would not be good. But we have Caroline KK Harvey on the podcast here today. Just a phenomenal player, phenomenal person. Just a great conversation. So before we do get over to KK, though, let's bring on the talent of the podcast, one Jeffrey J. Lavecchio. Vex, what's going on today?
How much, dog? Just living La Vida Loca. What? Upside, inside out. Yeah, banger back in the day. Yeah, man. Just living, dude. Just living. Got one of my guys coming in town tonight to play against Lindenwood at Miami. Miami, Ohio. So really excited to watch him play. I haven't got to see him play in college hockey yet, so that'll be a fun weekend here.
That's unreal, man. That's unreal. Yeah, it's that time of year. College hockey season started. Fall, the air's getting a little crisp, and it's feeling like hockey season. You know, you're kind of getting into the grind of things now. And man, what an awesome time to have KK Harvey on our podcast before she goes out to the Olympics in a couple months. On her quest for a gold medal and also a quest for a third national championship at the University of Wisconsin. Just an incredible player, incredible person too. I really, really enjoy this conversation, man.
Yeah, she's a phenomenal speaker too. Very, very well spoken, very articulate. This was a really fun podcast to be on. She was a fun interview for sure.
Yeah, for sure. We got to talk some hockey stuff. We got to talk some life stuff. I think it's really, really cool that not only is she one of the top players in the world, but she's also an academic All-American and a National Honor Society player too. You know, we talked about how you do anything is how you do everything, and just a great role model. And it was actually really funny. So my kids, I have 3 daughters, and I told them, I was like, hey, like girls, having one of the top women's hockey players at the pot. And they were like, what? They were so pumped. And then we got the chance to get the girls in here to say hello. And it is like, that's one of the coolest things about women's hockey, man. It's one of the coolest things about women's hockey is more than any other sport and any other entity, they truly, truly care about the next generation and leaving the game better than they found it. And you've seen that with countless other interviews that we've done on this podcast with people like Kendall Coyne Schofield, people like Brianne Jenner, people like Nick Hensley, people like Jana Hefford. It's just such a privilege to be able to get this women on here to talk about the women's game, talk about hockey in general. And Caroline, she's a rising star. She is an absolute rising star. She'll be in the mix for the Patty Casimir Award this year for the top women's college hockey player. Obviously it's an Olympic year again for her, and having the opportunity to potentially win a gold medal for Team USA, to be able to speak with people of this pedigree that truly care about the game and are well-rounded, awesome people too. I mean, I just think it's a phenomenal episode for any kid to hear, and just an awesome conversation.
And you always want to learn from winners. I mean, this girl's a winner. She's an absolute winner. Wins at everything. Just her school, life, hockey, international competition. So like anytime that you can listen to winners speak, it doesn't matter if it's in a different sport, a different, avenue, different silo, different whatever, like you want to listen to winners and learn how they are winning. And so you guys are going to like this episode for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And I think about, her year last year at the University of Wisconsin, national champion. She also scored 63 points, which is the most ever by a defenseman at the University of Wisconsin, which is one of the most storied programs in the history of the sport. But also on top of 63 points, 50 block shots, 16 multi-point games, and a plus 75.
Goo.
Yeah, I mean, talk about well-rounded player, right?
Might as well be plus $1 billion, Caroline.
Yeah, totally. Just really, really cool conversation, and really looking forward for everybody to listen to it and getting the feedback from it as well. But before we do get over to KK, we do have some people that we want to thank. First and foremost, let's thank our title sponsor, icehockeysystems.com. The best website out there for all your coaching education needs. They got thousands of drills. They got whiteboard explanations from high-level hockey people on systems and structure and habits and concepts. Also the ability to go in there and draw up your drills digitally, send them out to your team before practice, send them to your parents so they know what you're doing as a coach. We have partnered with them to do an associations platform where you can get this for every single coach in your organization. And they have also now come out with family accounts. It's not just for coaches, but they have resources in there for youth hockey players and youth hockey parents too. And so Ice Hockey Systems, some of the best people in the world. Head on over today and check all that out. Jeffrey?
I want to give a massive thank you to Train Heroic. You guys know Train Heroic is the awesome app that I use that has allowed me to work with tens of thousands of athletes and hockey players across the world since Voldemort 19, videos of me demonstrating coaching everything, and every single person that trains with me online can directly message me through their phone, through the app, anytime they want, form checks, anything like that. I've had 8-year-olds working out at home with mom and dad, doing home workouts with mom and dad, which is really cool, all the way up to NHL, NFL guys, using it in their season or off season if they're not with me. So massive thank you to Train Heroic. If you're a team, individual, or organization and you want to work with me, just reach out. It's hilariously affordable and it's extremely effective. I'm very good at what I do. Thank you to Train Heroic.
Thank you also to Helios Hockey. And Caroline is actually a Helios hockey athlete and an ambassador for this product that we love so much. What is Helios Hockey? It is a sensor that you put into your shoulder pad to give you real-time feedback on your play. Everything from your stride, and they have unbelievable development tools on stride length mechanics, things like that, but also a hustle score, which the kids absolutely love. But the kicker with this and the absolute gem is the fact that using your Helios, it actually pairs up with whatever video you're using, or whatever camera you're using. So it could be LiveBarn, could be an iPhone, could be an iPad, could be a camera, whatever it may be. It can sync up to that, and you can get your shifts or your reps in practice cut up for you directly after your game or after your training session. So just an incredible value add. Go to helioshockey.com today and use the coupon code ThinkTank, one word, and you will get a 20% discount on your Pro Annual or your Pro 24-month plan. Also want to thank Crossbar. Crossbar is an incredible software solution to help you streamline all the operations for your youth hockey club. I know so many different club presidents and hockey directors that have made the switch over to Crossbar, and they have been extremely, extremely happy that they did. So what do you get with being a part of Crossbar? Just a really easy to use front end and back end website. You get a club scheduler for everything from your whole season to little things like drop-ins and private lessons and skates and things like that. your registration for all that, 5-star communications app, financial tools and reporting, volunteer and facility management, literally just a one-stop shop to run your youth hockey organization. I actually just caught up with them last week. And again, just phenomenal people doing a phenomenal service in the hockey world here. So go to crossbar.org today. And lastly, thank you to all of our amazing listeners. We love you guys so much. We are over 7 years now. Over 7 years, almost, I should say. Not yet. We got a little bit of time. And there's little baby Sophie. Hi, little baby Sophie. But we're coming up on 7 years, and we continue to grind this baby out because of you. And we so appreciate all of the support that you've given us throughout this past 7 years. And if you can, just to help us out, to help to grow our podcast even more. Every time you can interact with us on your podcast app, any kind of like, any kind of download, any kind of comment, rating, review, subscribe, all that kind of stuff goes a long way into getting us in some more ears. And if you think we're making a positive impact on the hockey world, that's one way to help us to kind of spread the positive message. So with that, guys, you're going to absolutely love this episode. Just one of the best players in the game today. So without further ado, here we go with Caroline KK Harvey. We are so excited to have on this episode of the podcast. She's in beautiful Madison, Wisconsin. We got KK Harvey. KK, how are we doing today?
Good. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah, we are pumped to have you. I have 3 little girls that were very excited to say hi to you before we started the podcast here. So appreciate you taking the time, especially in such a busy time of the year. But with all of our guests that we have, the first question that we love to ask is how you fell in love with this great game of hockey. So you grew up in the Northeast in the New Hampshire, Massachusetts area. What was it that helped you to fall in love with this great game of hockey?
Yeah, being in the Northeast, surrounded by the sport in general, I feel like I was very inclined to start the sport myself, and especially my brother. He was playing at the time, and I remember going to his practices. My dad would always bring me in. From as young as being in a stroller, my dad would face me towards the ice, and I just remember I'd always be like, I want to skate, I want to get out there, and he'd be like, you're too young, not yet. And I just remember I kept begging him. Eventually, he gave in, and he put me in some figure skating lessons, and then from there on out, it turned into hockey. I got a stick, and then, the love for the game was pretty immediate.
That's awesome. It's actually funny that you say that, because our first ever guest that we had on the podcast was Kendall Coyne. I guess Kendall Coyne's Schofield now. And she said the same thing. We're both Chicago people, and she had an older brother that played, and she was like, I got to keep up with him. So let's get her rocking and rolling.
Yeah. She's how it goes. It's awesome.
Would you say that you guys became pretty competitive with each other kind of growing up? Was he, the older brother that kind of let you win, or was he making you earn your keep for everything that you got?
Yeah, he definitely wasn't making me earn my keep. He never let up, which was awesome. He always was pushing me to be better and, compete with him. Every time he'd pretty much beat me though, which was frustrating, but it was great to challenge me and make me work harder and get better. Yeah, it was great, and I'm glad it worked out the way it did.
Yeah, that's unreal. So growing up, KK, and whenever we get female hockey players on the podcast, I always want to ask this, because I get asked this question a lot, and typically it's a different answer every time I ask. But so many people that come to us, when should I play just girls hockey? Is there a benefit to playing boys hockey or co-ed boys hockey? When do you make that switch? Is it when checking starts? All that kind of stuff. And so, I don't know if there is a right answer or a wrong answer. It kind of depends on a lot of different situations. But how do you kind of view, what was your process like in terms of playing co-ed and then going straight to, just solely women's hockey? And I don't know if you get that question a lot, but what would your advice be to some of these younger families and younger girls out there that are trying to figure out which way to go?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I think nowadays it looks a lot different than it did even 5-10 years ago when I was younger, when, girls like Hillary Knight, Kendall Coyne were going through the same process. But I do think there are definitely pros to playing with the boys, but I feel like there's so many amazing women's little girl programs out there now that are great to participate in as well. If someone's questioning or like deciding, which way should I go? I honestly would encourage though, girls to play boys maybe as long as they can, and maybe that is up until checking, because obviously it gets pretty physical and dangerous, especially when boys start to, you know, grow into their own bodies and become very strong. So I feel like it just depends where you're at, what area you're in, what programs you have to offer. I think there's so many amazing, like I said, women's girls programs out there now that I wish we had when I was younger, but it just continues to grow, like the competitiveness of it on the women's side, which is great.
What do you think the benefits are to playing against boys at the younger ages?
Yeah, I mean, whoops, sorry about that. I think the benefits are they are um sometimes, you know what I mean, like they're bigger than us and you know a bit faster, so the game happens quicker, and I think it challenges you to make quicker puck decisions, play with more of an edge, and I feel like playing with that growing up, it translates well to the female game, and you have a bit more time once you get to the girls side of the game. So I feel like it pushes you in different ways that maybe when you're with the girls it's not as much a little bit.
Yeah,
Totally.
makes sense for sure. Well, your journey is one that is, you know, you've done a lot of really amazing things in such a short period of time. You know, we talked a little bit at the beginning about your falling in love with the game, you know, with your brother. But one of the things that KK, I've always been really just really proud, I guess, as a dad of three daughters, is how amazing the women's hockey game is at really wanting to leave the place better than where you found it. And there's a mentorship, there's a responsibility that you guys have to really, for the next generation, make sure that you know, kids like mine who are 8, 6, and 4 have opportunities that maybe you didn't have growing up. You know, now I'm sure you saw it as you were going through your process with the Hillarys and the Kendalls and things like that. And now you're at that stage where you're wearing the USA crest and you are that woman that a lot of the younger kids are looking up to. How do you see that kinship and that responsibility to leave the game better than where you found it now? That you're sitting in those shoes, knowing, you know, that all these women were putting in the work for the past a lot of years to make it better for women like yourself.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a big responsibility, and I'm just trying to be a sponge and learn from those great leaders like Hillary, Kendall, and other girls like Decker who have now retired and had amazing careers. And it's definitely a learning process, and I just love to give back and help in any way I can and give advice. And you know, I know those little girls look up to us a lot, so leaving a good impact and spreading great messages and the right ways of doing things. So it's definitely something I'm still learning, and I'm super honored to be able to do what I do with like the players I get to play with, and it's quite the honor to wear the crest. And you know, I'm just constantly learning, like I said, from those girls.
Yeah. What is it like to wear that crest and play for your country? And you've had a lot of success individually and as a team, you know, with Team USA. How cool is it to be able to represent your country with a bunch of women that you have grown up playing with and grown up watching? That's got to be just an amazing experience, huh?
Yeah, it's such an honor. It never gets old. I mean, it's it's the same feeling every time, and it's a sense of pride, and it's pretty overwhelming, if I could put it into words. And it's something I don't take lightly, and something I'm super appreciative of. And looking around the locker room, seeing those girls that get to play alongside, I feel lucky. And those women, they're great people, and most importantly, and of course, players. So always learning from them, and want to be a better version of myself being around them.
That's awesome. And I know you guys have some fun too. And so I have to ask you,
Totally.
because I know some of the women that you play with, Vex does as well. And so just talking to a few of them and the same story came up, but you have to tell us about what happened at the Worlds with your phone.
Yeah,
I heard that there was an
I've been asked so
amazing,
much.
hilarious story. So what ended up happening there?
Yeah, I've been asked so much since it happened, which is of course expected. But basically that game, it was like a funky game. I think we warmed up on a different ice sheet. Like everything was kind of out of order. It was just funny. Like we warmed up on a practice rink, and then we finally, like, because the other game went way over, they went into overtime or something. So then that same game, I basically changed up my routine. My skates, I like was putting them on. I'm like, oh, they don't feel that great. I need to get them done. Like I never do that. I always get them done the day before. So I'm like, okay. had my AirPods in. I'm like, I'm just gonna tuck my phone in my pants. Like, I'm gonna bring them to her because I couldn't carry my phone while I was carrying my skates. I didn't have enough hands, so I gave her my skates, and then my phone's in the back of my pants. And then I was rushing, like I didn't have much time because my routine was different. And I'm like, oh, I only have a couple minutes. I gotta hurry. So took my AirPods out, totally forgot about my phone. It's in my pants still. Laced my skates up, put my like my top on, and then we rushed to warm up. And then it was in there, yeah, the warm ups, first period, and then it fell out in the second. Once I like got hit and then I was getting up from it, like I didn't even like someone was like, there's a phone on the ice. And then I remember Layla at the time was like, KK, like she was like, your phone was on the ice. I was like, what are you talking about? Like I was like, you're crazy. Like, what do you mean? I don't have my phone out here. And then she's like, no, seriously. And then I remember our equipment manager, Sis Paulson, was like, whose phone is this? And I was like, oh my God. And then I was like, play it cool. And I was like, oh, like I like said to her, I'm like, that's fine. But like I was like, oh, I'll tell you about it later or something. Yeah. It's like a long
That's
story.
incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah.
that's incredible. The other funny story that I was told to ask you a little bit about was during the Olympic year when you had your gap year and you were working at Dunkin' Donuts. What was that experience like?
No, that was great. I mean, honestly, it's funny to look back on, but yeah, I remember after the Olympics wrapped up, it was like a weird gap of time I had. It was like March, April, and May, and then in June we'd start our freshmen like come here, train with the girls, get ready for your first year of college, hockey. But I still had the couple months. I had so much time on my hands, so I'm like, what do I do? I was so bored. So I'm like, oh mom, like maybe I'll like apply for a job like Duncan Nolan, my brother worked there. I was like, maybe I'll do that. And I actually loved it. I met so many people of different ages and different lifestyles. So it was pretty cool to have that unique experience. But it's kind of funny now looking back on it.
That's unreal. That's got to be pretty good people watching too, huh?
Yeah, you see a thing or two, definitely.
I love it. That's really cool. And obviously the Olympics are coming up here this year, and I have to ask you about the rivalry between Canada and the US. I mean, it is absolutely incredible. And to be fully transparent, so I went to Cornell. And there's a lot of Canadian women's players that have come through that program. Still root for the U.S. 100%. Like there's no question about it. But I'm sad for them when they lose.
Yeah.
But like that's been just such an amazing rivalry for so many years. And you played in it, as a young player, and now you've been in the Olympics playing in it and World Championships. Just tell us a little bit about how fun it is to play in that rivalry. How does it bring out the best in you guys? Like, just talk a little bit about the Canada-US rivalry.
Yeah, it's like no matter if it's like a rivalry game, a world championship game, like it depends if it's a Olympic game, they're all the same. It's always the same intensity. That rivalry is so real. It's intense. Like I said, there's no let up. It's like every play is so back and forth. We want to kill each other in the best way. It brings out the best in both countries, and they're such a respectable opponent. They always give their best game to us, and we always give them our best. And it's always till the buzzer, as you've seen in previous World Championships. OT win by them, OT win by us. Like it's crazy. It always comes down to that final buzzer, and I love to be in those games. So fun.
I can imagine. So, well, there is
Yeah.
a Team USA legend that you get the opportunity to play for, every day at the University of Wisconsin, and Mark Johnson, and what he's been able to accomplish, with that program for so many years. It's just absolutely incredible. And so, have to ask you, what's Coach Johnson like as a coach? What's it like playing for him, and why has the program been so successful for so many years?
Yeah, he's awesome. I mean, he is so relaxed in the best way and calm. He's a man of few words, but he always weighs in and says stuff at the right time, always. And he kind of lets us drive the boat type of thing. He puts a lot of trust in his players, and he always gets the best results out of that. And he knows when to be firm, but also he doesn't do too much, if that makes sense. Like he's the perfect happy medium, and love his close coaching philosophy and how he goes about things.
Yeah, that's amazing as a player when you feel like your coach has your back and your coach has your trust. What's that been like for you, coming in as a freshman, but a highly touted freshman, but how that's evolved now that you are a senior and you're going to be a leader again on the team. What's that like in your relationship with Coach Johnson, having that trust and having that respect to be able to kind of be yourself and lead the way that you want to? What have you learned about yourself in being able to kind of trial by fire and lead in that way?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a lot of responsibility, but just trusting like the success he's had with this program and things he's done, it's incredible. And just knowing that he he knows what he's doing and he trusts obviously us, and there's just always an open line of communication. So personally, I feel like I've learned a lot, and it's a learning process as we go, and it's different every year. You have a different team, different personalities. Got to figure it out as we go through the year, but it's been a lot of fun, and there's been challenges, but you just overcome them and how to figure that out as a team, how to get through that stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, that's one of the things we talk about, KK, on this podcast a lot, and we've been really fortunate to have a lot of high level players on the men's side and the women's side. And one of the things that we talk about that we think is really important for a lot of kids to hear is even someone at your level, the level that so many younger girls aspire to be at. It's never easy. Getting to where you are doesn't come without adversity. Getting to where you are doesn't come without a lot of ups and downs and twists and turns along the way. And so I'm wondering, if you can speak to, some of the younger players out there that do have a dream to play that where you are at some point one day, how do you go about kind of getting through some of those tougher times that maybe you've had in your career that have allowed you to become better, maybe more resilient, maybe be more mentally tough, so you can play at the level that you're at today?
Yeah, yeah, that's a great question. I mean, everything's not going to be always perfect, and like you said, the adversity and hard times you go through are definitely what make you stronger, make you better, and challenge you. It's in those moments that are hardest is where your character is really shown. So going through tough times, whether it's injuries, ice time, or yeah, like if you moved up from like a college team, collegiate USA team to national team, your role may be different, or you're going from end of high school to freshman in college, it may be different for that year. So it's kind of working through those tough challenges and looking inwards, kind of saying to yourself, like, what can I do to make myself better every day? What can I ask my coaches, like use my resources to push myself every single day? And whether that's doing an extra workout, shooting more pucks, staying on the ice extra time at the end of practice, or going on early. It's just really looking inwards and asking yourself, what do I need to do to be better?
If you look at, so I own a training company where I train lots of hockey players, and talking to my girls who are AAA players, young AAA players, I'm constantly telling them, like, if you want to be a really good female hockey player, one of the biggest separators that I've seen is off-ice training. Just with my experience, limited experience with a few different girls programs here in St. Louis that I've worked with over the last, 2 decades almost, the girls who really attack lifting and training hard, I feel like really can separate themselves between like 14 and 18 years old, 19 years old before they get to college. Is that something you've seen when you were coming up? Because to me, like it's something that all the girls who train with me consistently and train really hard, it's crazy the trajectory of their performance over the last 3 to 4 years.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's so vital, like the off ice component of it. And like that definitely does separate you, whether it's like strength, conditioning, speed, whatever you bring to a team, whatever your specialty is. I mean, it's definitely important to be strong, not just for injury purposes, but to separate yourself, and how much extra work you're doing. It makes the difference, if you want to be good or if you want to be great. And definitely going into college, that's such an advantage if you come in really strong, for sure.
It's awesome.
Yeah, and Vex had Nicole Hensley. That's he trained.
Awesome.
Are you still training Nicole, or I know you were, but
she moved to Minnesota a few years ago.
Gotcha.
But I worked with her for probably 3 years. One of my all-time absolute favorite clients. My company, GMT, she's on Mount Rushmore. No doubt about it. Like one of my favorite people ever. She just had her own bobblehead night back at Lindenwood here over the weekend, but I was gone. I was with Topher in Chicago for one of our cousin's weddings. Idiot. But she had her own bobblehead at Lindenwood. I was like, oh my
That's
God,
awesome.
I can't believe I missed Nicole Hensley bobblehead night.
She actually,
so
that's
sweet.
That's
Yeah,
so
dude,
funny.
she's a legend. Absolute legend. One of the best people ever.
She's cool. I got to play with her a little bit. She's awesome.
Yeah, super dialed, super hard worker.
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. Well, KK, I got to ask you because this was something I'm sure you've been asked a million times, but I would love to hear your perspective on this national championship game last year. We were talking about Coach Johnson, and 19 seconds left in the game, and they call a penalty shot. It's 3-2. You guys are down, and the freaking guy goes, "Who wants it?" He's like, "All right, who wants to take the shot?" It's actually so cool that the camera was on him when he said it, because not anybody maybe would know about it. And Kirsten, she lifts her hand. I got it. And she goes in, she scores on the penalty shot. You guys end up winning in overtime. Take me through kind of like the bench when that's going on. First of all, it had to be so nerve-wracking knowing that there was a challenge going on, that you guys might be getting a penalty shot right now. And then when they award it and Coach Johnson saying, "Who wants it?" and Kirsten, like, she like, what was that kind of like couple minutes like? It had to be absolutely intense and insane, but awesome all at the same time.
Yeah, like going back is so crazy to think about, but going back to like the start of it, that play, I just remember there was like no time left. Yeah, 20 seconds. And Layla, like she was down by the net. There's a couple girls down by the net. She was the one who saw the cover, and she was like, "You can't do that." And the ref like was just gonna forget about it, whatever. But she was so adamant. She skated up to our bench. She's like, "Coach, like you need to challenge this, get a penalty shot. Like this is important, whatever." He was like, "Okay, go over there." And then she was asking me, she's like, "Do you see it?" And I was like, "Not really." I was like, by the blue line, you know. I'm like, "You go talk to the ref, like go." And so she was like the one who was like, "Okay, get this called." And then they called it. And while that was happening, yeah, like it's shown on the camera. Coach was like, "Who wants it?" Like in the event we have one. And all of us look to Kirsten. Like we all have so much trust in her. It's her specialty. Like her hands unreal. Like we have all the confidence in the world in her. She raised her hand and confident herself as she should be. She was like, "I'll take it." And I just remember from that moment, Casey went up to her, Layla went up to her, I went up to her. We're all like, "Okay, Sims, like you got this." Just like we do every like it's like every last practice before we play someone, we do a showdown where we do shootouts. We're like, "Do your thing. You always win that during our team events. Like you're gonna score this time. Like no big deal. Like you got it. Like no pressure. Like come on." And I just remember she got up there and did her thing, and it was unreal. Like that move was incredible. I like still plays in my head, and I'm like,
So
"Oh,
sick.
that was so sweet." Yeah.
So sick.
So
And
that's
then
the
you
story
guys
behind it.
That's awesome. And then you guys win in overtime, and kind of going along with that, I wanted to ask you, we were talking about the rivalry series between the US and Canada, but the last 3 national championships in women's hockey was Ohio State versus Wisconsin. And every game, the first 2 were 1-0. And then you have 4-3 in overtime. I have to add, like, how amazing has that rivalry been too? It has to bring out the best in you guys, 2 Big Ten schools, even though it's not really Big Ten, but like, what has that rivalry been like? The fact that your 3 years at the school, you have been in a national championship game against the same team. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about. I mean, they're definitely them and the Gophers are our biggest rivals, and every time we play them, they give us such a great game, and they work so hard. They're so relentless. They're such a hard team to play. Muzzy does such a great job over there and coaching her players, and the players she's recruiting are such great players. So, I mean, every time we play them, it's always, like national championship game, 1-0, whatever, 4-3 last year. And then we play them during the regular season. It's always back and forth, back and forth. It's never like, 4-5-0 one team. It's always such a great game against them.
So cool. Oh man,
Yeah.
rivalry games are the best, aren't they?
Seriously. Yeah. So much hype around it. So exciting.
Yeah, no question.
Nobody does selling better than Shopify. Shopify is the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not so secret, with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts go abandoned and way more sales going through. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. On the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout that Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period for 3 months at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
The secret is out. With millions of younger-looking customers across the country, Plexiderm is one of the most highly sought-after products on the market. It visibly shrinks under-eye bags and smooths out crow's feet in minutes, and the effects last up to 10 hours. Influencers love it, magazines feature it, and people just can't get enough of it. As a matter of fact, Elle Magazine gave it an Editor's Choice Award as Best Instant Wrinkle Filler for 2025. In as little as 10 minutes, Plexiderm reduces the appearance of fine lines, wrinkles, and those dreaded under-eye bags. So yes, you can look years younger in minutes, and the effects last for hours. No surgery, no gimmicks, just results. The best news, you can try Plexiderm for only $14.95. Plus, get free shipping. Don't wait. Order Plexiderm today. Visit plexiderm.com/special. That's plexiderm.com/special. Paid for by Sheer Science.
I want to talk a little bit more about your college career, KK, because my background is in college coaching. I coached at 3 different D1 universities, and one of the things that I loved about college is you get these players for 4 years, and they come in and they're like one way, and then they leave 4 years later and they're completely different people. They've grown up emotionally, they've grown up physically, they've grown up mentally, and it was really cool. I think the best part of my job was just knowing you had a little bit of a hand in this person becoming, for me, the man that they are when they're leaving. And so I would love to ask you, you're going into your senior year here. What do you think the biggest thing you've learned through your experience at Wisconsin about yourself? Coming in thinking about as a freshman, and now you're going into your last year. What have you learned about yourself that you can be proud of kind of moving forward?
Oh, wow, that's a good question. I think every year has been so different, but just there's always going to be some adversity faced during the year, whether it's usually as a team. Every year, no matter if you have, we do well, from an outside, maybe it's seeming like we're doing well, top in the rankings. It's always something that, you have to overcome as a team and figure your way around it. So I think just navigating different challenges has been a great thing I've learned. I didn't know what to expect coming to college, but yeah, just getting through, whether it's personal or just as on a team, just adversity. And we kind of touched on that earlier, but yeah, navigating challenges, I feel like has been something I've learned. And, you're really on your own in college. You don't have your parents. So I'm proud of that. And I feel like that's something that I've learned as I've been here.
Something that I've been talking a lot about with a bunch of my guys who this year left St. Louis to play, whether it's a midget team somewhere else or a junior team or college or major junior. It's a lot of guys hitting adversity for the first time, and something that I'm constantly telling them is it's really good. I was talking to one of the dads of an OHL player today, adversity is a really, really good thing. Do you think some of the adversity that you've hit later in your career here, playing against Canada, playing in national championships, all those types of things, did you hit any type of adversity when you were younger, maybe your early teen years? And if so, did anything that you hit there, do you think that helped you, or how did that help you now when the stakes are quite a bit higher? You're playing in the highest levels in the world.
Yeah, I think thinking about when I was younger, now that you think about that adversity, it's definitely seems smaller compared to now. With higher stakes, as you said. But definitely going through injuries during college and trying to being in different positions, if you're in a different role on a team, how do you react to that? Do you work harder? Do you complain? So it's kind of learning, you know what I mean? you got to work harder. If you have to get something better at something, it's putting your head down and just putting in that work. So definitely different challenges like that. And I think I've learned more perspective, especially from an injury standpoint. When you have to sit out and watch your team and go through that, you learn a lot. You watch more video. You can see the game in a different lens. So I'm appreciative of, looking back now, those injuries were for the better and they sucked at the time, but they helped me grow and learn in those ways.
Love that. And I love that you said that. I love that you said those injuries were for the better. And for anybody out there that are the parents, if your son or daughter gets injured, for the coaches, you're going to have players, you're going to get injured throughout the year. It's using perspective like this. You can use this to get better. Don't let things happen to you. Let them happen for you. I had the same thing. Again, I was telling the story today to a different guy. The two best things that happened in my career, getting cut from a team at 12 years old when I had never been cut before. And I'm sitting there crying in the lobby. And my parents were like, instead of my parents calling the coach, they asked me, do you think you had a good enough tryout to make the team? And I was like, yeah. And they were like, okay, different question. Do you think you played as well as you could have throughout all the tryouts? And I said, no. And they said, well, then you don't deserve to make the team then. Best thing that ever happened to me. Second best thing that ever happened to me, getting injured my first year in the USHL. Tore my groin off the bone. That's what got me into off-ice training. That's what got me into watching hockey as like somebody trying to learn hockey, not a fan. And it completely changed my hockey career. So like parents listening to this, you got one of the best female players in the entire universe. Like these things, when they happen and you're young, it seems like the sky is falling. You're not Chicken Little. Okay. The sky is not falling. You can use adversity as teaching moments and help your players get over, around, and through, because 100% of the time, 60% of the time, every time, it will make them better in the long run.
Absolutely.
Hey, Anchorman quote. I love it. Yeah. It's again, it's not the things that happens to us. It's the way we choose to respond to the things that happen to us. That's the most important. And I wanted to ask you too, you mentioned, trying to figure out a way to really thrive in different roles that you're potentially asked to play on different teams. And that's something that I think a lot of really talented players at some point in their career really struggle with. I know from kids at coaching at the college level who might have been the best player on their junior team, and then they get to college and all of a sudden they might have to play a role that they aren't used to playing. Or guys that I had in college who were then going to play pro, and all of a sudden they were, a power play guy through and through, and then they're being asked to play a third line role or a shutdown D role. Because there's just a couple other players that are a little more talented than them in that. Is that something that you've experienced, whether it's, some of your time with the national team, whether it's, becoming a player at Wisconsin or maybe even before? You mentioned it, and it is a question that we get a lot from different people, and I think I've seen a lot of people struggle with. So what's your take on just kind of thriving in the role that you've been given and trying to do the best at what you've been asked kind of by the coaching staff?
Yeah, definitely. Like on various teams, my role has shifted. Whether before I was like on the power play, and the next team I'm more of on a penalty kill, or maybe I'm not playing or in those situations. And it's kind of like when you're not in those situations, again, it's a perspective thing. Okay, now let's watch the PP1 and the first penalty kill or the first and second. Let's see how they do. What do they do well with their stick position on the PK? On the top of the power play, if that was what I was, and now I'm not, okay, how does this player, how does she run her blue line? How is she deceptive on the point? What can I learn from her? So it's learning from those players that are in those positions, so you can work at that stuff and get better, and then maybe you will be in the position down the road. But for now, it's like, if you're not in those positions, it's a learning process, and you just have to understand that. And it teaches you a new perspective. And I know it can be hard at times, obviously, because you want to be in that position, but you just have to keep working hard and keep your head down.
Yeah. Is there someone that helped you figure out or come to that type of mindset? Was it your parents? Was it a coach? Was it an older teammate? Or is this something that you kind of had to figure out on your own?
I would say I definitely had to figure out on my own. I mean, I think a big part of that, my first experience would be from the last Olympics. I didn't play much, and it was a learning process. I got to sit there and like watch a lot. I got to learn from watching the power play. watching especially the US Canada game, like how intense it was. Of course I wanted to be out there, but it taught me a lot and I was really a sponge in that experience. And I I like was new to that, and at first, maybe it wasn't easy, and it's not something like it's not an easy position to be in. Of course, you want to be out there, but I uh, I learned in those spots, and it was hard at times, but now I'm appreciative of that again.
Was there anything? Because like I hate to say things like this, but talking to a lot of coaches and a lot of people in development and in my roles and things like that, they're like kids are getting softer. Like they pout and they get upset and like things like that. So like, did you feel any of that, or did you have none of that and you were able to accept it right away and be okay with it and be like, I'm going to get better from this. I'm going to use this as a stepping stone to make me better. Did somebody have to help you with that? Is that something you learned when you were younger?
Yeah, I think that was definitely my first real experience with that. So I was definitely younger at the time, and I was just so grateful to be there. I mean, it was incredible, and it was such an honor, regardless if I was playing or not. And initially, it was hard, and I wasn't used to that role, but I grew from it. And I learned, and I was like, okay, this is my position. But if I'm asked to go out there, like I'm ready to go. And there were times during games like I'd be asked, or like, okay, like I hadn't been playing at all, and I was pretty cold, but they're like, all right, go out there now. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do the best I can and try to prove something, or do the best if we're on a 5-on-5 situation, if we're killing a penalty, whatever it is. I want to be my best self and help the team in whatever way I can. So I wouldn't sit there and pout, but I would do my best to encourage my teammates, and more so just I'd stay out of the way and just like, be there, like patting my teammates on the back if we were down, or, just be sitting there ready to go whenever I was called.
Very cool. Very cool. Now you have, I'm assuming, a bigger role than the last time you were there.
I hope so. Yeah, I think so.
I mean,
yeah,
that's the goal.
definitely.
Yes. You could say yes.
Yeah.
No, I know, but I'm saying like where they're slotting
sure.
things, because what I'm saying is I work with a lot of junior players and they are the guy, and then they get to juniors and they're almost never the guy. They're 17 going into a team that's got 20-year-olds who got 3 years of maturation on them, physically, mentally, emotionally, perspective. And so, and that was me too. I went from being a goal scorer into being a fourth line guy who's a healthy scratch my first year in juniors. And it was super hard for me, but something that it sounds like you clearly had a good head on your shoulders and perspective. And when you went out there, you did whatever you could to prove to the team that you were an asset, you were valuable. And players, if you're in a role that you've never been, if you're getting sad, if you're on the line you want to be, you're taking off the power play, pouting does not get you back on there. But showing your value in whatever role the coach gives you, put you on the fourth line, don't turn the puck over, try to play in their zone to tire out their D, finish checks, be hard to play against. Guess what? If you are exceptional at the role you're given, whether it's 1 shift or 10 shifts in the game, coach is going to trust you more. He's going to give you a little more rope. That's how you work your way up the depth chart, not pouting, not giving in, not pointing fingers, not poor me, not telling mom to call the coach. Never do that one. Like, we got one of the best players out in the world here, and she's giving you a blueprint to success. So I hope parents, you're helping your kids understand what she's saying and how important this is if you want to continue moving up the ranks in hockey.
Boom. There we go.
Nobody does selling better than Shopify. Shopify is the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret, with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts go abandoned and way more sales going through. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. On the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout that Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period for 3 months at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
The secret is out. With millions of younger-looking customers across the country, Plexiderm is one of the most highly sought-after products on the market. It visibly shrinks under-eye bags and smooths out crow's feet in minutes, and the effects last up to 10 hours. Influencers love it, magazines feature it, and people just can't get enough of it. As a matter of fact, Elle Magazine gave it an Editor's Choice Award as Best Instant Wrinkle Filler for 2025. In as little as 10 minutes, Plexiderm reduces the appearance of fine lines, wrinkles, and those dreaded under-eye bags. So yes, you can look years younger in minutes, and the effects last for hours. No surgery, no gimmicks, just results. The best news, you can try Plexiderm for only $14.95. Plus, get free shipping. Don't wait. Order Plexiderm today. Visit plexiderm.com/special. That's plexiderm.com/special. Paid for by Sheer Science.
Well, KK, I want to ask you too. One of the things that we talk about a lot is it's a line that we use. It's how you do anything is how you do everything. And, you know, if you want to be a great hockey player, you can't like not care about school, or you can't not care about, you know, social relationships. You can't not care about things that are important in your life. And for me, I can really appreciate in this, having played at and coached at Cornell and Ivy League school. You know, not only are you're killing it on the ice, but, you know, you're also an academic All-American, National Honor Society. You know, academics, it would seem is pretty important to you. How much do you value kind of your academics, and how do you feel like, you know, putting the time and effort into those things potentially can make you better at what you do on the ice?
Yeah, I think a huge part of it is, of course, academics are just as important as on the ice, and you can't neglect that. So staying up to date with school, on task, being organized, I think that definitely plays a huge role in your consistency and your play on the ice. I feel like when I'm out of sorts with school or behind, or my social life, like I'm lacking in those ways. I feel like those parts of my life do play a role in my hockey. So I like to be very organized and kind of on top of things. So being good in school is a huge part of that, and you want to put your all into that as well as hockey. It's just as important. Obviously, you want to get a degree and graduate.
Yeah, that whole academics thing, there's a life after hockey, huh?
Yeah, it's important. It's not all hockey. Yeah.
No, I do. I agree with you. And you can tell, you know, I've worked at a couple different schools, somewhere the academics from the guys was more important than maybe some of the other schools and things like that. But I always felt like the players that really had their stuff together outside of the rink were the ones that can really truly be themselves at the rink. And, you know, you mentioned being organized and staying on top of things. We were all college hockey player. Jeff and I were too. And when you're behind on that stuff, then you're playing catch up, or maybe you're not getting as much sleep as you used to. You're a little bit more stressed, and those things absolutely are going to affect the way that you play on the ice. And so, for all the youngins out there, guys, school matters. School
Absolutely.
matters. And, you know, the other thing, right? Like Wisconsin, great academic school. Some of the schools that I worked at, University of Michigan, Miami of Ohio, Cornell, there's a lot of really good academic schools, both at the Division I and the Division III levels. And so for all the kids out there, like, the better your grades are in high school, the more opportunity you're giving yourself to play college hockey at the end of the day, because it's the most amount of schools that you're going to get into, right? So the lower your kind of GPA gets and things like that, you're kind of shelving off some potential opportunities to play at that level. And there's only so many spots at the Division I level and then the Division III level. And so just academics, so incredibly important. It's really cool to see that that was something that was really important to you. And the other thing I wanted to talk to you about here too, KK, just as it relates to your game, you know, one of the things, we have a lot of young hockey players that listen to our podcast, and we have a lot of youth hockey coaches that listen to our podcast. And one of the things we've been talking about a lot lately is the importance of developing versatile players. Similar to the situation that we were talking about earlier, at some point, you're probably going to be asked, if you're going up as an elite player into different levels, you're going to be asked to potentially play a different role. You're going to be asked to play up and down the lineup. And if you can play different positions, you can play up and down the lineup because you're a versatile, well-rounded player. You're giving yourself more of an opportunity to play. And for you, you know, last year, an amazing year offensively for you, but then looking at the stats, you also blocked 50 shots, you know? And so just wondering kind of how important it is to you to really dominate at both ends of the ice. You know, not just being a defenseman who can jump up in the play and you know, be a part of the offense, but also someone that can help keep the puck out of your net, kill plays fast, get the puck up. You know, all of those things as well. How important is it to you to play on both sides of the puck?
Yeah, it's definitely something I've learned more as being in college, which has been great. I think like the defensive side of the game is honestly more important because the faster you can shut down plays and get down the ice the other way, the more offense you'll play. So stick detail, gapping, you know, surfing players. It's also important winning your 50-50s, positioning in front of the net, getting on the good side of them. It's also important and something I continuously try to work on and get better at, especially translating from college to, you know, pro will be important and college to the national team. It's just the stakes are that much higher and you have to be on your game. So I think the defensive side of it is honestly more important in ways, and you can't neglect that because it's awesome if you can score and put the puck in the net, but it's really how you can shut down the other team and how quickly you can turn over their offensive threats into your offensive threats and make something of it.
Love that. Love that. It's a great message to kids. It's like the more you care about defense, the more you're actually going to play offense, the more you're going to have the puck,
exactly.
which is what you love to do. Last thing I have for you here, KK, is, you know, it's your last year at Wisconsin and it's absolutely amazing. And it's so funny to think about. We're almost 7 years into our podcast here. And actually, by the time that this comes out, we might be at 7 years of doing this. And our first ever podcast that we did was with Kendall Coyne. And it was at a time where her and a lot of other women were really fighting the fight with USA Hockey. They were fighting the fight trying to create a sustainable professional league. And now there is one. There's the PWHL and it's stable and it's been an unbelievable product here. It's expanding and, you know, I don't want to put the cart before the horse here, but that is something that I would imagine you're pretty excited about at some point once your career at Wisconsin is over. So can you talk a little bit about just, what that next step could potentially mean for you and the fact that there is a stable and thriving women's professional hockey league, how amazing that is and how excited you're going to be to potentially play there one day.
Yeah, it's been so incredible to watch and see it continuously grow. I mean, the fans that they're getting and the hype around it, the excitement, the expansion, all of it. It's crazy to see how it's gone from year even 1 to 2 to 3 and just what it's going to look like in even 5 to 10 years. I mean, there used to not be a league, as you said, but now there's a sustainable league that's here to stay and it's going to just continue to grow. So looking at it from an outside perspective and then hearing from my teammates that are in it right now, it's like, it's really cool to get their perspective and then have our own watching from the outside and just can't wait to hopefully be a part of that. You know, that's the goal and it's so cool to see.
Yeah, I can imagine so. And it was really cool to see Kendall lift the first trophy, you know, when the team won. So cool. And just I know the amount of work that went into creating this league. And I know how much of a pioneer and leader she was in getting there. And the fact that the first year she was the one holding up the trophy at the end of the year, it was just poetic justice, you know, to see that. It was just really, really cool. And so, and the other thing here too, I gotta make sure we plug this a little bit before we let you go, but we are partners with Helios Hockey. And didn't realize it until a little bit ago, but you also are a partner with Helios Hockey. We get the opportunity with our reach on the podcast and on social media. We got a lot of people that kind of reach out to us about plugging their products and stuff like that. And Vex and I both are very, very selective on the things that we want to promote, and we only want to promote things that we think are really valuable and hold a lot of value. And so, you know, being a part of Helios there too, just talk about your experience with those guys. I think they're wonderful people, and the product is just something that can really help players get better at the end of the day too. What's your experience been like with them?
Yeah, it's been phenomenal so far. I remember we started with USA Hockey a couple of years back, utilizing the Helios and just the data it's next level. That shows the strides, the hustle, the load. It's just so many amazing metrics on it. And working with those guys, they're just awesome people and they're so smart. So I personally, I've loved using it and looking at my sessions and, learning from it and, how much more should I load the next day, or was I hustling enough? Like, was I going my hardest? So it's cool to learn from that stuff and push you to be better too.
Love that. Love that. Well, KK, thank you so much for your time here today. We have 10 questions that we're going to end with. That's going to be housed in our Hockey Think Tank U. It's our community that we've built of just amazing hockey people, but such great lessons. I think there's a lot of young women and a lot of young boys that are going to listen to this that are going to get a lot better from having listened to this conversation. So we appreciate all you're doing for the hockey world, and best of luck this year too. Big year, senior year, potential Olympics coming up. Like how excited are you to get things going?
So excited. Thanks for having me again. Yeah, I can't wait to really get going here. I mean, a couple games in now, but everything's just beginning and it's just a start.
Yeah, love it. Thanks, KK.
Hockey is back, and this season, DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, brings you all the speed, skill, and nonstop action you love. DraftKings Sportsbook delivers the unmatched intensity of the NHL right at your fingertips. From player props to the thrill of live in-game betting, every drop of the puck is your shot to win big. New customers, this one's for you. Bet just $5 and your bet wins. You'll get paid out $300 in bonus bets instantly. If I had needed this product, it's what I'd use. Light the lamp all season long with DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets in your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. Pass-through per wager. Tax may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. Copyright NHL 2025. All rights reserved.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.